Why, hello, people. This is your crazy minion of Discord with you again tonight, and I'm gonna try something that's either going to be extremely brave and work well, or an epic fail, and I'm not quite sure which it's gonna be. Will it work out, or will it be an epic fail? Scary. Okay. Anyway, I'm going to attempt on this island of Scaros to remove one of the villagers that I don't really like terribly well. Um, Now, if you're serious about removing a villager and probably are going to go off on a hunt afterwards, there are a few important tips to remember here. The first is that using this method that I'm about to show you, you are still not able to remove your most recent villager. So if you want to get rid of the villager that you just got, it might be better for you to possibly use an amiibo to do it. Figure out which villager you want, use the amiibo, invite the villager to your campsite 3 times, create the whatever DIY they want you to create for them, and then at the end invite them, and you'll get the opportunity to pick the villager you want to get rid of. That's probably the easiest way to go about it. This other way is not the easiest, but it is possible. It does take time. It requires a lot of time traveling. Be aware that if you're doing a lot of time traveling, there is a probability that not only will you wind up with a whole bunch of weeds, but you're gonna get roaches, and your villagers are gonna be mad at you, and they're all gonna come at you and say, "Where have you been for the past however months?" Because this technique takes time traveling months forward and months back. So it's kind of something where you have to determine whether you really want to get rid of the villager. And, in my case, I don't really want to get rid of the villager, but I figure it's worth it to show you guys how to do this, because it is kind of a cool technique. Now, also, you need to know that it's completely random who is going to be targeted to leave. But you can quit out of the process and not accept the villager that the game wants you to remove. But then, of course, you have to try this all over again. So it is up to you how you want to proceed there. Also, make sure before you do this that you're prepared to hunt, or having an amiibo isn't really going to help you terribly much, because you have to invite the villager 3 times over 3 different days, and if you get rid of a villager, the next day you're going to have the plot full, usually. The plot will get filled with a random villager. It could be the next day, it could be the day afterwards. So you have to be prepared that when you kick a villager out, you're going to need to have enough NMTs to go off on your little quest so that you can try to find the villager of your dreams. But if you're good with all of the possible issues and the cleanup, which will occur afterwards as you have to run around and get rid of all of the weeds and all of the roaches, then this technique should work for you. Anyway, the first thing that you need to do is talk to a few villagers before you even do anything. So let's start that process. Here's one right here. Let's say hello. Hello, Kiki. Yeah, Kiki says some weird stuff, but you know it's okay. Okay, let's find a couple of other villagers to say hello to before we begin our first time travel endeavor. You're not a villager. You're a leaf. Okay, where are my villagers hiding? Let's check the houses. Come here, villagers. Come on out. Come on out. Aha, there's one. Hello. Yeah, me too, Broccoli. I know that's not his name, but I like to call him Broccoli. Okay, after you've talked to 2 or 3 villagers, and it really doesn't matter who you talk to, just talk to a couple of them. Then what you're going to want to do is save and close the game. So let's save it. Yep, I saved it. And close the game. And by close the game, it means that you're going to want to use your right controller and exit out into your this screen here. I don't know what it's called, but this screen here. Make sure that you've closed the game. Use X to close it. Okay. Then off to your system settings. Then what you're going to want to do is go forward 1 month and 1 day. So you go to your system, you go to your date and time, you make sure your synchronized clock via internet is off, and then you can make your choices. So 1 month and 1 day. You say okay, go back, and then we open the game again. Oops, there we go. Open the game again. So what we need to do here, and let's get ready for this. After you enter the game, after we're done with Isabelle and her telling us what all is up, we're going to save and close the game again. Okay? So, let's start us up. And it's going to take a little bit to do that. But we can go over the reminders again while this is coming up. You cannot remove your most recent villager by this method. If you want to get rid of your most recent villager, I would recommend using an amiibo. All of this is going to be a lot of time traveling. Be ready for that as well. And who's finally going to be kicked out is random. You can't pick. But you can reject and start over and try another one. Okie dokie. Now it's going to start at the house. And we look a mess here, of course. Okay. And now we save. Don't forget to close the game after you save. With your X. Okay. Then you go back to your system settings. And now we're going to change the time back exactly 1 month. Okay, back 1 month. All right, now this time, when we enter the game, we're going to check and see if we can find a villager that's thinking of leaving. Now, one of the things that I've learned here is that the time that most villagers are out and running around is sometime around noon during the daytime. So, 9:30 at night, they may not be around doing the right, doing their thing and being out. So let's change this to about 12 o'clock, more or less, and that should do it. And we'll check it out. And here we go. Okay, so what we're going to do once this comes back up is we're going to look for a villager thinking of moving out. Now, they can be hanging around the town square, they can be hanging around their houses, they can be wandering around. So what we're going to look for is that proverbial bubble over their head, showing that they're thinking, or if they're pacing around, or if you hear there's a sound that they kind of make when they're thinking. It's kind of a blooping type sound. We're going to look and see. And if we have any of those, then we get to decide whether we want that villager to move out. Now, I pretty much have amigos for everybody that I'm looking for. Well, I'm looking at who are sitting there on my island. So I'm not risking a lot if I have to get rid of someone. Oh dear. Okay, when KK Slider is here, we usually don't have anybody that wants to move, but let's look around just to see, just in case. Kit Kat doesn't want to move. None of these guys seem to want to move. But you see how around noon there are a lot more villagers running around? And you can also see all of the weeds that are growing up. Well, I'm not terribly interested in dealing with the weeds right now because I'm going to be doing some more time traveling. This is a southern hemisphere island, which is why it's so nice and green right now, instead of that icky winter stuff. But no, it doesn't look like anybody is ready to move. So what we do in that case is we don't save the game. Now, you can close out of here by not saving the game, by going back to your start screen here using your right controller and Xing out from here without saving. So let's do that. Let's close. Okay. So the next thing that we're going to do, because if we open it again on the same day, we're going to have the same issue. Let's go forward 1 day, okay? So, go to your system settings, down to date and time, or system first, then date and time, and then we go forward 1, and we'll leave it at 12:08 p.m. That seems like a nice time, and let's open it. And let's see if anybody's ready now. And this is a lot of trial and error as we're going forward, trying to figure out, who's going to move or whether we can get him to move. So don't beat yourself up if this takes some time, but it takes a lot less time to do this than to go through day after day after day waiting for somebody to tell you they want to move. I am going to have a lot of cleanup from the weeds, and I have 3 houses on this island, so I'm going to have to clean up all 3 from roaches, but that's kind of fun, so it's all right. Okay, let's check again. See if there are thoughts of moving out. More wonderful weeds. So many weeds. Okay, Grizzly was the last guy that I brought in, so he's not gonna want to move. Let's take a look down here. Kit Kat doesn't want to move. Doesn't look like any of these guys want to move. So we don't have anybody again. Okay. No, I am not going to pick up the book. Nobody seems to want to go. Aha! Let's see. Nope. See? Man. And I thought that you know, it would have been Kiki wanting to move out, but no, she does not. All right. So let's change the date again. Let's try a couple more times here. I'll quit out of this without saving. And let's go forward one more. Now, it doesn't really matter too terribly much if you go forward or back, but when you pop onto KK Slider or any other event, you know, like your bug off or your fish offs or any of that stuff, generally your villagers are not going to be moving then. Or if it's someone's birthday, they're not going to be moving out then. So you kind of have to go past that or before that. I can't recall whether I changed the date here or not. Doesn't matter terribly much. We can fix that. I did. Cool. Okay. Let us see what we have here. Nope. These guys don't look... Aha! Okay, so now we have somebody who wants to leave the island. So your choice here at this point, if you don't want this one, If you don't want Mary to leave, for example, what you would wind up doing is you don't save, and you close the game the same way that we showed you. Change the date one forward, and you try again, looking to see whether or not you can get someone to go. Now, I don't want Mary to leave. I don't really want any of them to leave. I was just using this to demonstrate how to get someone to leave. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to quit out now without saving so that I can keep my lineup where it is. Now, if I wanted Mary to leave, of course, I would accept this and say, yeah, go ahead, and Mary would be in boxes tomorrow. And I could go off hunting, but I don't want to go off hunting. So I'm just going to quit out of the game, and let's just do this now. An X there. Okay. So that is how you do it, pretty much. I'm going to check and make sure that I'm just going to switch this to today, make it a little bit easier because I was going a little bit slow on this particular island. So, speaking of slow, let me find date and time here. This is what I get for not paying attention to what I'm doing. Okie dokie. All right. So I'm just going to pick today. Actually, I'm not going to do it that way. I'm going to do it this way. Synchronize via the internet. And then I'll reopen and we will be right back to normal. I'll let it stream for a little bit if you're interested in watching me weed. If not, feel free to watch this over or slow it down or do whatever makes sense if you're needing some assistance in getting your villagers to, one of your villagers at least, to get lost. Again, if it's the wrong villager who wanted to leave, click through, quit out without saving, and change the date, go forward another day and try again. If it's the villager you want to move out, accept their offer to move out, and they will be in boxes the next day. I hope this helps. I think I'll end this stream here and start it up again for the weeding part, just so that people who want to get rid of a villager won't have to look at this and think, oh my goodness, it's going to take half an hour to demonstrate this, when most of it is me weeding the island afterwards. So I'm going to end the stream and I'll start it back up in a minute.